all over social media that there are quotes such as Britain faces call up to fight in the armed forces if UK goes to war with Russia. That's independence. The Guardian says Army Chief says people of UK are pre-war generation who must be ready to fight. Against others says that that blacks and Asian people can contribute to England, to Britain, and they can volunteer and fight against the Russian. But what's interesting, you ask yourself the question, Russia isn't invading Britain. Russia is fighting her war with Ukraine, because the European world or NATO breached their Monroe Agreement. They were stretching their empire into Russia's sphere. So it's their fight, it's their war. They wanted black people and Asians to get involved in their dirty work. If you ever read the book Staying Power by Peter Fryer, Staying Power, where black people fought in the First World War and Second World War. In fact, they were on the front line trenches, fighting harder than white people were fighting for their own country. They were fighting harder than the patriots, than the nationalists. Yet, once the war was finished, African American soldiers was faced with racism. The black British soldiers were also faced with racism. So you're fighting, the white man's war. But once the war's over, you're then told to go to hell. History always repeats itself. There are English people now saying, and white people, I'm not going to fight in the war. Why should I? I know black people will. We've always had a mentality where we want to be accepted. And let's say for argument's sake, that black people and Muslims and Asians are dumb enough to fight Russia, and Russia did nothing to them. Do you think it's going to reverse the roles of Brexit? Do you think they're going to say, well, you've proven your patriotism more than I have, you can stay? Of course not. It's not in their nature. So you will volunteer your life for a country that voted to get rid of you, for a country that once your parents came here and built the country up, the Windrush scandal started under the Tory government. And it's the same Tory government telling you that they'll be forcing black people, Asians and Muslims to conscript. You've got no choice but to prepare for war and volunteer your services. And if you're on some kind of benefits, they will stop your benefits unless you fight. This is what their mentality is like. They will do something to Muhammad Ali. They took away his belt when he would fight against Vietnam. When Muhammad Ali says, the Vietnam didn't stop me from my freedom, the Vietnam did nothing to me. It's you, America, that's messing with me. It's you, America, that's fighting against my freedom, not Vietnam. You're my enemy. This is what Muhammad Ali says. You're my enemy, not Vietnamese. But probably black people, we have no knowledge whatsoever. A lot of black people, one black guy, silly idiot, says on Twitter, have you seen Russian bombs? Have you seen Russian bombs? In other words, if Russia didn't have the nuclear, sophistication, then maybe he would have done it. The only thing that put him off was the Russia sophisticated nuclear weapons. That's the only thing that put him off. Otherwise, he be the front trenches. But sadly, history repeats itself. Black people, Asians, Muslims will never be accepted in Britain, America, or Europe. We can fight till the cows come home. You can fight their dirty wars. You will not be accepted. If you read the book Stay in Power by Peter Fryer, and you will see how black people lay down their lives. The Sikhs also fought, for Britain. I think it's called the Gurkhas. The Sikhs, lay down their lives. Muslims also fought for Britain, but they don't want to know. They're not interested in teaching that in schools. They want you to fight against the Russians, but they'll keep that history buried. They won't say blacks and Muslims fought against the Russians. If we're stupid enough to do it, they will keep our history books. And that's why if they ask me, would I fight to defend England? No, I would not. No, I would not. I'm too well read. When you're well read, you can't be programmed. You know the tricks of the devil, the tricks of Satan. And that's the reason why you asked me to fight. No, I'm not interested. I'm not interested. Because at the end of the day, they voted to deport my black ass. In other words, what they're saying to me, I don't have equal terms. If I was on equal terms with everyone else in this country, then oh yes, I'd be out there. If I was on equal terms, I'd be the first in the trench lines. If I was equal, but I'm not. When I go shopping, I see I'm not equal. So why the hell should I lay down my life, knowing full well in the future, my nephew and nieces will not benefit out of my sacrifice, but will continue to go through racism? I'm not stupid.